Well, my wife, Maureen, and I met the year her doctors told her she was going to be dead. And
Which was 28 years ago.
since then, we've lived through uncertainty in so many different ways, not knowing from 1 minute to the next whether she was going to make it. And what's incredible about this 28 years is that we have grown our love. We're more in love today, and our relationship is better and stronger than it was, and it gets better every day. It's really amazing. And so, like, wow, you meet someone and they're supposed to be dead. Like, what do we do? How do we do life? So we needed to kind of create and design some tools, some relationship design tools, some ways to get through stress. And as we use them with each other, we realized, hey, these are working. Let's have a business doing this. And so, as Steve was saying, we've been working with organizations around the world, bringing these tools to different people. And the one thing we've realized is that in the middle of uncertainty, what we need most is to be together. How do we be together in the middle of uncertainty? And that's what's gotten us through. And it's really fascinating. So a lot of things in our culture have really focused on this idea of how do you build self-awareness? How do you get more resilient in your own self to be able to handle whatever challenges come your way? And self-awareness is brilliant. And what we've realized is that beyond self-awareness and including self-awareness, we need something we call collaborative awareness. And that's the discovery and the design of who we are together. And it's really in our work as we met with different organizations and teams, we come and get together with these brilliant, self-aware people. And sometimes it would just fall apart. Why? Why is this happening? Well, it's because we get hijacked. It happens. I have fear, I have stress. I mean, we've lived through a lot of fear and stress. We know how that is. And we realized that so many people just stop at stress. They don't keep going. And stress is actually a design cue. It means something matters, and we need to take a little step back to figure out what that cue is telling us to what we want to create. Which leads really to this piece of really importance of designing our relationships, designing who we are together. Where are we?
Do you have the clicker?
Yeah, but it's back there. It's not time for the clicker yet. So we realized that we need both access to tools to deal with our stress, as well as tools to design and increase the things that are going well to build on our flow. And design, that's an interesting question. We, in our lives, have so many things that are designed. Our smartphones, the wastebasket next to our desk, the chair you're sitting on. All those have been designed, countless hours have put into design those items. So we were asking ourselves, why don't people design their relationships? Why don't we take time to actually discuss who we're going to be together and how it's going to work? And that was really the foundation for the Blueprint of We and a lot of our work. And yeah, we want to design our relationships to work for us. And one of the best people I know at designing is Maureen. Because,
Thank you.
do you want to share a bit about your design?
How you design your life? Okay, so this is what's interesting. You meet somebody and you've just been told you're going to die that year. Put your will, you're going to be on hospice soon. I have a very rare genetic fatal lung disease. And people live maybe 10 years. And I was at my expiration date. And every doctor was absolutely sure, everybody dies right around that. So what do you do? What do you do when you meet someone and you can't do the off-the-shelf things like, oh, let's date and get engaged, get married and have the white picket fence? Like, that was not on the table for us. And if that's the case, what do you do? So we decided to just design for the day. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. Do you want to have dinner tonight? It just became this, what do we want to do today? You want to get together today? But here's the thing that's so amazing. When you start designing who you are with people, you don't measure people up against forever. You don't look at them with this like, oh, that's not right, and this is okay, but that's like, it just doesn't come into the picture. Can I deal with you? Can I embrace you? Can I adore you today? Is a much easier question. And I don't care if you're working with someone or they're a member of your family, it's a whole different landscape. And so as we began to design this life, which we still do every day, we did get married because I kept living. But we literally still ask each other every day, and I'm not joking you, will you marry me? Because we're still only together for a day. That's the only thing that matters. And now I've lived 28 years longer, which is crazy. I've been on oxygen for 22 years. It's a very wild life to be in that uncertainty. I've been on hospice so many times. I've had 5 strokes since Helene, and I'm still here. It's uncertainty is our brand in so many ways. And it was due to living that life and having our kids and being a family that we realized if we don't design who we are, like, we'll just be at the mercy of stress and fear. And it's so true at work too. Most people go to work and whatever they're hired for, they know how to do. The issue is with other people, like, people are messy. So how do we create and design what really works for the very particular group who's together? And that's a really interesting, fun road. That's what we've been doing with companies all over the world. Business is my playground. I love the design of who people are together. We get to be in such like sacred spaces with people, because when you're together designing and everybody's in flow, because that's what's created, you literally feel seen and you see other people. There is nothing more powerful than being with a group who is seeing each other and feeling seen. And then how do you sustain that? So there are ways that you sustain that over time, and you grow and evolve what that is.
And so today, we've got a whole bunch of tools. We're going to focus on one tool, which is called Pick Up the Sled. It's a way to kind of interrupt your patterns and actually know what they are and then learn how to interrupt them. And yeah. So
this is the thing we realized in working in places all over the world. I know who I am, you probably know who you are, but what we don't know and what we don't have like an artifact, like my self-awareness is contained in my body. My brain and my body know when I learn and evolve. When we're together, there is no artifact, no place that holds how we evolve, who we are. We don't take time to stop and say, okay, who are we today that we weren't yesterday? Where do we want to go? Here's the thing that was interesting. We started asking people to know what they valued, but now we've moved to actually asking them, what emotions do you want to feel as a group? Which is really interesting. So if a group gets together and says, the we know you and me, but this we is being designed, what do we want to feel on a daily basis? Because how we feel creates the picture of the world that we see. So when a group comes together and says, we want love, we want fun, we want accountability, like whatever, I want to feel something. You can measure feelings at the end of every meeting. You can measure feelings when you walk out of your business at the end of the day. They are very present, and it's been a really interesting design cue to take a look at. So in the you, me, and we, when we're looking at who we are together, there are so many ways that I want to share with you who I am. That's the first thing. There's a piece of our work that's about knowing who you are, what do I look like on a good day, and what really keeps me in flow. How can I ask the rest of you to help me stay in that place or get to that place? On the flip side, I'm going to tell you when I'm a total stressed out nightmare. It looks like this, I talk like this, I act like this. It has nothing to do with you. I've been doing it since I was little. but this is what it is. And here's some things that I'd love to have you, like, invite you to, it's not a demand, to be there for me, or ask me this question, or tell me to go take a walk, or see if I need something to eat. Whatever those things are, when we begin to share, this is who I am, and this is how I want to invite you to be in that space. It's also, the blueprint of we is this relationship design document that's around the world. There's also a place when we're designing who we are together, where we're sharing ourselves as our best third-party mediator. There's, in that we, when we get together, if we took our most emotionally intelligent selves and put them on paper ahead of time, because I'll tell you, when I'm stressed out, I can't access those good things in me. Oh, now it's on paper. We've all collectively put that on paper, and we use that to help us get back to a good place. And we also use that to get even more in flow. Every time there's like what we think of as stress in the system, it's actually a messaging system. We get taught that stress is a warning system. It's not. It's just trying to point at something that matters to you. It's not a problem with the people, ever. It's about the design that you've created together must need to be evolved.
This idea of when you're in stress, when you're connected, we've realized, and there's been research about it, like for millions of years, we've been trying to survive and thrive as humans. And we do these two main modes to have survival. So there's what we call our safety brain, which is about protection. How do we, it's the safety brain. How do I stay safe?
And it's a whole neural network. There's not one place where you protect yourself.
Yes.
It's a neural network of feeling like you need to be safe.
And then on the other end of the continuum is what we call a connected brain. It's where you're in flow, it's where you're connected, where things like are thriving and we're creating. And we live somewhere on this continuum between the safety brain and the connected brain in any given moment. And so we're trying to help you do two things, kind of be aware of what that feels like to be in safety brain or connected brain, and then try and figure out what are the ways to move from safety brain into connected brain.
And most importantly, it's about creating options for yourself. Our world gives us so much data on how we need to protect ourselves, it's crazy. But let me tell you, I have 10% lung capacity left. If I think a stressful thought, I'm just sitting here thinking a stressful thought, I can't lift my arms over my head, I can't shower, I can't get dressed, because I can't breathe well enough to move. So I feel stress much earlier than other people. And part of the journey for us was okay, how do we create a life where our relationships are so in flow with everybody that I will get stressed, but it lasts moments now, not I get used to. I was a runner, stress me out, I'm going, give me the keys to the car. I've changed so dramatically, my mom says I'm not the child she gave birth to. So there's something about knowing your safety brain, knowing what it looks like, how I show up in it, what are some of the early signs so that I can shift out of it, how do I shift out of it, how do you guys help me? How's a conversation with you guys help me learn how to do that? So it's not that we should be in connected brain and we shouldn't be in safety. And yet, for me, safety isn't so great for me. But it's not about ever saying anything's good or bad or right or wrong. As soon as I start doing that, forget about it. I can't get out of bed. So if that's the case, and our world gives us so much around protection, how do I build that part of myself that knows connection, knows how to get there, knows how to invite it, knows how to answer yes to it? That's an amazing experience to go through. So this leads us to the filing system of mind, which for me is a metaphorical, that's how the brain works, right? So I meet you, and I have to pull the files out of my own mind, which I've collected over my life, from every movie I've seen to my parents, my culture, my friends, whatever it is. That all those files in my brain are used to make meaning of the world. I can't make any meaning of you unless it already exists in my filing system. So what we tend to do is I meet you, I pull out these files, I attach them to you, and they might have nothing to do with you. So part of this experience is, okay, give me the files. You tell me who you are. You tell me what it means when you're totally stressed out. And maybe you want me to stay back and don't say a word, or you want me to lean in? What do you want? Who are you? How do you work best? What does in flow really look like for you? Let's create that together. There's something very different about like having a graceful relationship with people. When you start these conversations, you also know you're invited to ask questions. I mean, so Zelle, I call myself a Zelle-thropologist, which is an anthropologist of Zelle. Because in the beginning, when we started designing our relationship, it opened up these like questions.
Well, we didn't know each other.
This is true. We didn't know each other when we first started doing this. But like I could ask questions about like, okay, you just tiptoed across the kitchen. What's going on? Like you get so curious, it gets interesting. And he goes, I don't tiptoe. Like, no, you really do. And it stopped him to be like, okay, well, next time I do it, show me again. And he realized in his house growing up, like you didn't want to rock the boat. So you tiptoed when things were a little iffy. And he didn't even know he was still doing it, only when he was stressed. He doesn't do it anymore. Like there's an awareness that happens. You start evolving at a rate that's very different than when I'm using my filing system to make up who you are.
And like we talked about a little bit before, you can have these brilliant self-aware people, and why do we go in these like safety brain modes? It's because of this filing system. And our brains actually evolved to have greater access to these fear pieces to keep us from dying, really.
But we got over the dying part, so
yes.
that was helpful.
We're past the dying part. And so what's really important is that we start to build and grow, in essence, our library of connected brain pathways and thoughts so that we have a greater group of things to pull on when in any given situation.
Okay, so just to give you a little bit more context, when connected brain shows up, we know this version of ourselves. Now, how often it happens, like that's totally changeable. You can evolve that. But think about who you are when you are in more of that calm, happy, or maybe you're excited, whatever it is, whatever that state is where you feel more in flow. Like, what do you look like? What's your voice sound like? How do you treat people? What do you think about yourself? Like when you begin to really know your connected brain, it's incredibly helpful to find your way into that space more often. I used to have stress on autopilot. Now it sounds ridiculous, but joy is my autopilot. That comes up, it's like burping. It just comes up out of nowhere. It's crazy.
And I think the other piece with the connected brain is that when we're in connected brain, we have more options. We see more options. And when we have more options, we can actually design what we want to create in that connected space.
Okay, so safety brain is so interesting. We think safety brain is like this almighty, like, oh, I'm protecting myself, I feel better. But man, I really question that now. Some of the most recent neuroscience shows that when we focus on a problem, our brain literally shuts down like a third to a half of many neural networks. Because problem is tunnel vision. And our brain was built, run from the beast on the savannah. But what happens in that tunnel vision is my brain only looks for things that look like me, act like me, talk like me, feel like me. Because it thinks it doesn't have the capacity to learn somebody who is different than me, an idea that's different than mine. So we focus on problems in our world incessantly. We doom scroll the news. We talk about the dystopian thing that's happening. It's just so wired in the architecture of humanity. It's crazy. So I want to get out of my tunnel vision. I want to be co-creative with like all kinds of thoughts and ideas. And I'll tell you, when you know what you look like in safety brain and you build these options to be in your connected brain, the number of ideas, the creativity, the ease of working with another person who you first might have thought was like, oh God, not this guy. That stuff changes. We're seeing it in places all over the world. And what we're looking at around collaboration is no different in any country we've been in. It's fascinating. This is such a human thing. But it is a way to evolve.
Right.
Okay, so here's the thing we're going to do today. It's called Pick Up the Sled because I want you to imagine that you're standing at the top of a snowy hill with a sled in your hand. If you go down the hill 1, 2, 3 times, you never steer after that. There's a rut in the snow and you just go down the hill, right? That's how neural networks are made in our brain. So I think something a few times like, ugh, I'm never going to get this done, or this really sucks, or whatever the thing is. That sled will just run for me. It's my brain saying, oh, Maureen, you've thought that a few times. Let me think it for you subconsciously 24 hours a day. I will always have that ready for you. So we live in a world where we're making sleds down, say, the left side of the hill over and over again, and now they run. When I show you my stress, because something's going on in my day, that is not me waking up and thinking, oh, I want to show the stress today, or oh, you're standing in front of me, I want to be stressed with you.
I really want to be fearful today.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, it's literally my subconscious just picking it up. It's the filing system of my mind saying, oh, I got this for you. Like, get upset, worry about this. It's just so automatic. And it's fascinating to me. I don't ever want to demonize that. When I need my safety brain, I want it. And it'll show up. If I really need it, it'll show up. So that happens, but I want you to now imagine with your sled that's gone down the left side of the hill, that you pick it up. And what picking up the sled means is creating more of like an awareness space first, of like, oh, how do I move myself away from this just enough so I watch myself put the sled down the left side of the hill. So it might be, if I pick a particular thing, I stress out when I've got too many emails to respond to, which is always the case. I want to get to a point where I'm first just like watching myself do it, like, oh, there's me, thinking again, these emails are so much work. I want to just know, I want to start noticing when I do these things so they're not autopilot the same way, okay? So if that's the case down the left side of the hill, I've picked up the sled, I now have this awareness, and I'll take like, I'll realize some stressful thing I'm thinking, and I'll take like weeks or a month to just, I don't need to change anything, I don't need to evolve anything, just notice, I just pay attention to when I do it.
And that awareness is really powerful because we want to get closer and closer to recognizing when I'm starting to tip into safety brain.
Yeah. So what it does for me is it moves like, you know how sometimes when you're stressed, you're in the eye of the storm, you just feel like it's swirling around you? It moves the storm 2 miles off the coast. And I can handle so much more when the storm's over there than when I'm in the middle of it. So that's always my goal for in the awareness phase. Then what I really want on the connected side of the hill, the connected brain side of the hill, I want to be able to build the same ruts in the snow around the good stuff, around how life is beautiful and how those people are just already love me and they don't even know it yet. I want to build those files because they can come up as automatically as the stressful ones. That's what happens in my body now. That's why I'm still alive. In fact, my cardiologist says, after being on oxygen 10% lung capacity for 20 some years, that I have a heart that is like someone 20 years younger than me that runs marathons. He said, that's impossible. But I think there's so much love that comes from being in my connected brain so often, it impacts my body. It's incredible. Okay, so if you then put the sled down the right side of the hill, you want to start knowing and understanding, like, what are the things about me that I want on autopilot? Like, this is going to work, or writing emails is so simple. I love connecting with people. Whatever the things are that you want to be in that kind of space, you got to know them first. And they're already in you. They're a part of who you are already. This is not some completely new thing. We just don't spend as much time paying attention to it. And I want to invite other people to pay attention to that part of me too. Then I make the run down the right side of the hill, and now I have options. Something appears in front of me, I make meaning out of it. I can go left, I can go right, but I want more options on the right side.
And this pick up the sled is a great visual and keeps in your mind. You're having a little bit of stress, pick up the sled. Just pause.
Just think it in your head. Imagine it in your head for a week. For the next week, you start being stressed, just pick up the sled.
And then you have access to more options.
Yeah. All right, so there's a piece of paper on your chairs. We're going to do a little mini thing as a partnership.
Does anyone need pens or anything like that?
Yeah, we do have pens. Okay, so here's basically what this is a real micro experience of when we do this with, in organizations, with teams, with groups. There's 3 columns, okay? In the center column It's titled Things That I Do.
And we're going to focus on page 1 right now.
Well, one says we in the corner and one says me. Turn to the one that says me first. Okay. Okay, so in the center green column, and normally this would be longer and more specific, there are things that we've given, like things that you do in your work on a daily basis, right? That just stops your brain from saying like, okay, here's me in my day. Now I want to know and understand who I am in safety brain, who I am in connected brain. So on the safety brain version, it's just listing, like for the example, respond to a client issue. Who am I when I'm all stressed out? When I'm not thinking clearly, when I'm feeling overwhelmed? Like just what does it look like? Nothing wrong with it. Like if you want to be that, but mindfully be that.
So like for me, if I'm responding to a client thing in a safety brain, I either rush and I don't pay attention to things, or once I rush too much, I then freeze and like break out. And it's anxiety in my body that I'm not going to get this right or it's going to be. And so I feel uneasy. I might feel a little like tension in my chest. Like how much can you flesh out what that actually looks like and feels like so that you can be aware of it when it pops up?
Because it's totally happening on autopilot. Okay, so then on the other side, connected brain version, who are you? And if you don't know the answer to this, cool, now's the time to like, pay attention. Maybe you just know one piece of it. But how do you show up in that space when, there are days when you get that client issue and it just feels like, oh, I got this. This is simple. I'm so in like my own body today. I feel like we can solve this in no time at all. Okay.
Okay.
So what you're going to do in creating this is, okay, so first on your own, we're going to give you a little bit of time. We gave you 3 examples of things that you would be doing.
And then there's a spot for a 4th one if you want to.
And if you only want to write ones that you think of for the green column of what you do, and it's just trying to get you to pay attention to like some things that you might do on a daily basis. So you're going to take a few minutes on your own, and you're going to capture as much as you can on the orange right side of your who you are, or left side who you are in your safety brain, and the blue right side of who you are in your connected brain. And then we're going to just have you pair up with whoever's next to you and have a conversation about like, who are you? Like tell somebody else, because this is part of the thing. If we don't share this with someone else, we can't evolve together. So you pair up, you talk about it. You'll find, some people will find like, oh my God, they're so the same. And some people handle things very differently. If someone's different than you, what a great opportunity to ask a question of like, what does that feel like? Or
I get curious.
Yeah, what do you need in that moment? It's a great, it can be a great equalizer of like, we all do this. Like nobody's not getting stressed and nobody's not feeling in flow. We all do it. It's just how often are we changing our brain from one side to the other? Okay, so does that make sense? You're going to fill it out on your own, just by yourself, and then you're going to pair up with somebody when you or they are ready, or we'll also like ring a bell when it's time.
Okay. Does anybody need a little more time? Are we ready?
Let's pair up.
All right, let's pair up. And
Feel free to move seats over next to someone else.
Stay with your crew?
Yeah.
I'll bring this with us. We'll come to you, bud. Yeah, for distractions.
I just get anxiety, but I won't show it. Yeah, and
Something more superficial. I want to feel good about this. Take the time.
I love that it's so interesting, you don't want to stop.
so they custom.
I think it's interesting to note that whether you paired up with someone you already know or you pair up with a stranger, you always learn something. There's always some other essence to how we do what we do. So much of this stuff is in our heads, and it's so fascinating to find out that everybody else is very similar in many ways. Okay, so here's what's really where it gets interesting. When we go into organizations, we use this exercise with groups, and it can be a group of any size. So we'll put up something like the thing in your hands, but huge up on a wall, and the group together starts listing what are the things we do as a team, as a whole company that runs this cafe, or whatever your business is.
This division, whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. So there are things you do together. And believe me, groups have a heartbeat and a personality all their own. If these are these 10 people and you switch one for a different one, the fingerprint changes. So who are we together when this particular group of people comes and works on, having a meeting, dealing with the customer who's like not happy? Who are we when we're together? That's not something we generally talk about. So what's fun is then as a group, they list the things of what we do together, and then they talk about like, gosh, when we're totally having a great day together, when business is going well, when we feel good about things, call up some of those days, remember what some of those days looked like, and then start listing, like, here's what we do when things feel right.
How are we interacting with each other? How are we engaging? What are the behaviors? How do things go? How
Yeah.
does it feel?
And it's so fun to be in a room of a group of people who are like calling up that version of themselves. Like this is us like embracing one another and the things that we're doing together. On the flip side, there's a safety brain version of a group too. And how do you tend to show up? So this is where that collective space, remember the three entities of you, me, and we? The we has the same kind of automatic pilot ways we do things. We've made meaning of how it went in the past. We think it's going to go that way again. We think this particular thing we do is never easy. One of our local clients is, my mind just went blank.
Which one do you think of?
Brother Wolf.
Ah.
Brother Wolf is an animal rescue organization. And when they did this, they took a particular process they do of going out and getting like hurt and wounded animals, bringing them back, processing them all in. And they all said like, that is so stressful. Like we've never done something like that and had it go easy. It's emotional, it's hard to do, there's a lot of steps. And then they talked about who they would be if they were in flow. And it was so beautiful just to hear the story of what that would look like. And since that time, which is now several years ago, they told us like that first week. So part of this exercise is that you do an experiment. You leave here and you say, I'm going to pick one thing in the connected brain version of myself, and I'm going to be that. I'm going to experiment with being that like for one time or 1 week or whatever it is. You got to start practicing and trying these things on, right? So they decided, all right, the next time we have to go collect these animals, we're going to do the connected brain version of ourselves. And they said it was so smooth and actually joyful, and they really felt connected, and they felt like they gave the animals so much more love than like more stress that they were already under, and had no idea that that was even a possibility, because our brain says, oh, these poor animals are really hurting, this is just stressful. And instead, they changed the field. They changed the way the animals felt and how the process went. So knowing this as a group, the flip side of your paper that was the me that you just used is a version of we. And we want all of you to go back to whatever group you are with. And it could be family, it could be your team, whatever you want it to be. Do this with a group of people. And then create an experiment for yourselves to say, okay, let's try this version of ourselves on this one time. And hey, maybe if it goes well, you say, it's an experiment. It's not now I got to do this forever, right? That doesn't make sense. It's an experiment, so it's like, okay, we did it, it went really well. Do we want to continue the experiment or end it? Do we want to evolve it or change it a little bit before we do it again? Make up your mind if you want to keep practicing that particular way, or if you want to upgrade it in any way. And pretty soon you'll find that you've got the right side of the snowy hill into an autopilot experience. But if you don't know self, know each other, exchange that information, and then look at who you are as a group. I encourage you, our website is collaborativeawareness.com. I encourage you to look up the blueprint of we, which is the collaborative relationship design process. There are all kinds of design documents we have for every kind of relationship. Our playground is business, but there's so much we end up doing with communities and families because we're just, after all, groups doing stuff together. Is there anything? Nope, that's it. So please, go design, discover who you are together.
Question?
Oh, yeah.
Did you say that when Brother Wolf implemented the change that the animals, it had an impact on the animals they were rescuing as well?
Yes, because when we're calm, we radiate that out to other people. We create a field of calmness. Just like if I'm with a bunch of people and they're all stressed, I'm going to get stressed. Like animals, plants, we all feel stress in many ways. So yeah, it does impact, you know, even the animals for sure. Or at least they felt that it did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.